What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to share with you the secret that forever altered my cash flow. The one thing that took me from zero cash flow to enough cash flow to provide for the life that I'd always dreamed of. And I'm going to show you how you can do the same. So with that being said, let's jump into it. I'm super excited about this video because I truly believe that it can forever alter your life just like it has mine. But before we jump into it, I want to remind you that you have one day left, only 24 hours to jump on the Creative Cash Flow Club. This is a community I created where we can all come together with other like-minded investors, bounce ideas, ask questions, get feedback, create and receive deal flow, and so much more. I've included my real estate investing course, a seller finance course, a deal finding course, a mailer marketing course, a cost segregation course, and so many other tools and resources, and there's so much more I'm gonna add over time. I am more passionate about this community than I have been about anything else, especially after I've already done some of the question and answers and some of the trainings, because there are so many awesome real estate investors in this community, and it has been so much fun. On top of that, I've already been able to watch so many investors move forward, put in that offer, close that deal, and it just gets me hyped to get a ton of like-minded people together and accomplish our goals. I really believe that this community has all of the tools and resources you could ever need to go from 0 rentals to your first deal, or to go from that first deal to 100 units plus. And this is the last time you're ever going to be able to get it for only $41 a month. The pricing is absolutely insane, and it's just because I wanted to jump up to a couple hundred members quickly. We're already over 100 members, and there's just 24 hours left. So if you want to jump in with us, this is the only time it will be this cheap. Click the link in the description, and we'll look forward to seeing you inside. Now that we've covered that, I want to talk about the biggest thing that took me from literally zero cash flow to over 7 figures in consistent cash flow from investing in real estate. In order to do this, I've got to tell you a story. When I was 21 years old, I couldn't find a job, and I ended up going out to California to sell pest control door to door. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that the first couple weeks were absolutely horrible, and I didn't sell a single account. As a matter of fact, all the people around me were whispering about when I was going to quit and just go home. Now, luckily, I stuck with it, and I would go on to break the rookie record at my company, earning me $96,000 in a 3.5-month summer. Now, at this point in my life right now, I own over $50 million worth of real estate, and a lot of people have a really hard time believing that I got there without any help from anyone else's money. But honest to goodness, I had no money going into door-to-door sales, and so going from no money to $96,000 in my bank account was absolutely mind-blowing. What's even more mind-blowing for me is going from that $96,000 in that first summer to the point where I'm at now, owning over $50 million worth of real estate. And I promise you, some of the things that I learned along the way that I'm going to share with you today can do the exact same for you. After getting back from this summer, I knew I had to find a smart place to invest this money. I looked into stocks, bonds, real estate, all of these different investments. I had people approach me with startups and everything under the sun. As I was trying to figure out between these different investments what to do, I was hanging out with my buddy, and we went over to his parents' house. And this place is a mansion. It's got an indoor swimming pool, tons of bedrooms, all kinds of cool stuff. And I was blown away. And I asked his dad, man, this is incredible. What do you do? And he said, well, I invest in real estate. And so over time, I had become friends with him and with his dad. And so once I'd made $96,000 in the summer, I approached him and I said, look, you've done well. How should I invest this money? And he taught me a very simple rule. He drew up 4 houses on a piece of paper, and he said, here are 4 houses. Now, if you bought one house in cash, this is what you could make in cash flow and in appreciation. However, if you took the same $100,000, so instead of buying a house with $100,000 cash, if you take that same $100,000 and you put $25,000 down here, $25,000 here, $25,000 here, and $25,000 here, you're going to have this much in a mortgage, this much in expenses, and these are going to be your rents coming in. And now look at what your cash flow does. And I was blown away because I'm getting a smaller return on each of the properties in cash flow, but overall the 4 properties cash flow together was way bigger than if I had bought one property in cash. So I was like, that's really cool. And he goes, yeah, that's the power of debt, but there's more. Each of these properties has payments you're making every month. and you have part of that payment going to principal paydown. So now you have this money in this one, and this one that's paying down the loan. And I'm like, holy cow, that makes your return even bigger. And he goes, but wait, there's more. On average, homes appreciate 3 to 5% every year, and even more if you buy them right and add value. So if you do 3 to 5% appreciation on one property, it would be $3,000 to $5,000 if it's a $100,000 property. But now you can multiply that by 4 as well. So I'm looking at the returns and I'm blown away because I can now see there's a true path if you buy these properties right to a 30, 40, 50% plus returns on your money. This was the first aha moment I had with investing in real estate. And I knew that was the path I needed to take, but I had one other moment that would forever change my trajectory. This moment was when I purchased my first property. And here's the deal. This first property that I purchased, I did everything wrong. I didn't listen to his advice and I bought the property in cash. I bought it at a not great return and I was absolutely clueless. I didn't have management. I was self-managing. I under-rented it. I did everything wrong that you could do wrong. And guess what? I got a tenant in there and I got my first rent check and it blew my mind. And here's the funny part. The rent check was only for $750. I had bought this condo in cash, so I didn't have a mortgage, and I had a whopping $750 check, and I was forever altered because I realized, holy crap, they are gonna pay this check every single month that they're living in this property. And when they move out, I'll find another tenant. But as long as I own this property, I don't have to do anything. Not completely true because I was self-managing and I learned that that wasn't the case. But I still had this aha moment of all I do is collect this check every month and it's mine. That's money that I can spend on my lifestyle. And that's where things really clicked because I recognized as long as I started stacking those checks, the more properties I bought, the more eternal cash flow that I would have. The cash flow that just wouldn't stop. It would keep coming in month after month after month. And then I realized that, hey, what if I could replace what I'm living on right now purely with cash flow from a rental property? And so me and my wife decided to make a goal that we were going to live as frugally as possible. I was going to make as much money as possible and put every dime of it I could into rental properties. And once we got to the point where we were no longer using my active income to live, but we were just living off my rental property, then as my rental property cash flow is providing for my life, every new property I purchased increased the kind of lifestyle that we could live. So we decided that's what we were going to do. Every dollar that I made that I wasn't using to provide for the very bare essentials we needed to survive, I was putting into real estate. And it took a couple years, but pretty soon, after living in our 2-bedroom apartment, I had over 20 units that I had purchased. This meant that we were still renting, living a very meager lifestyle, even though I had good earnings from my door-to-door job, and I owned over 20 units of residential real estate that was cash flowing every single month. And once we got to this point, our lifestyle was covered. We could afford our apartment, we could afford our food, we could afford that current, more meager lifestyle, and now is when it got fun. Because the next property we bought, we had enough cash flow so that we could go and start looking at a house to live in. And we bought that house. And then I could start looking at the truck that I always wanted after I bought the next couple rental properties. And then we decided we could do a bigger house and we could do nicer cars. And we could do all of this completely paid for by the passive income that was coming in from our rental properties. So that every single dime of my active income could go straight into real estate. We then also learned that not only could we put this money into real estate, but there were massive tax advantages to doing it that way. So now we're deferring taxes. We're spending all of our money on real estate. Our cash flow is continuing to grow. And so now we can go on the trips that we wanted to. We can afford the house that we wanted to. We can afford the cars that we want to. And it just continued to grow on itself. So if you can take away one thing from this video, I beg you to take away this. Keep in mind that if you can just live a lowly lifestyle, a low expense lifestyle until your cash flow can cover that entire lifestyle, then every single property that you purchase helps your lifestyle grow. Now, this is difficult. I know it's hard to hold to this standard, but the more that you hold to it, the more that you can put into investment properties, the quicker you're going to be to a place where you can afford the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. And you don't have to do anything. You could sit around all day if you want to. You can finally chase that business idea that you want to. You can spend time with your kids, your hobbies, whatever you want to do, because you have made it so that your passive income provides for the life that you've always dreamed of. So that is my big tip, and I know it sounds so simple, but if you hold to those rules, I promise you can get there. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is if you've hit a wall. Whether you haven't bought that first rental property or you have and it's not going well, but you know this is what you want to do, I'm telling you the Creative Cash Flow Club could forever change your life. If you want to be surrounded by like-minded investors that hold you accountable, that have all of the processes dialed, the steps are all lined out for you, all the help you could ever need to take that next best step to start creating that passive income so that you can live off passive income, doing all the things you've always dreamed of, I promise you this is the time to jump on it, because as time goes on, the price is only going to go up. And the only reason I'm pushing it so hard right now is I know, one, what it already is for this insanely low price, but two, I know what it's going to become. We're only going to make this community better, and it is going to be the one-stop shop. It already is the one-stop shop for you to have everything that you need to move along in your real estate investing career. And I promise you, I won't let you down if you decide to join us. And if you can't tell, I'm so excited about it. I've never pushed something this hard. And it's just because every single day I get to interact in this community, and it's been such a blast. And so we'd love to see you there. So if you're interested, make sure you click the link in the description. And remember, right now, it's only $41 a month. That's the cheapest that it will ever be. And hopefully we'll see you there. Now, if you enjoyed this video or got something out of it, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the little bell, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.